Here you go. Go live. Okay. Thank you, Emily. I'm sorry. For some reason, I wasn't seeing that option over there. Emily.
Hi, Rodney.
Hi. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. I'm sorry for that technical glitch there.
No worries. Thank you
So,
so much for having me.
absolutely, absolutely. Your colleague Melissa Bell, who is the playwright of the show you're working on, Lady Capulet. I had her on this program several months ago when you guys were doing a performance at that time. And now you guys have another round of Lady Capulet coming up in about 10 days. And that's on Thursday, January 28th, and that's with the Norwalk Public Library, right?
Yes, and that's in Norwalk, Connecticut. It's at 6:30 p.m. and you can find that on our Facebook if you want to join. There's an email address to get the link for that. But yeah, Melissa and I have been working on this piece for a while together, and this is just the next iteration of it, and we're really excited to hear it out loud again.
I was watching. I was fortunate enough to have access to the recording of the one that you did last time, and I was watching that. And for those who aren't familiar with what Lady Capulet's all about, it's a prequel that Melissa wrote to Romeo and Juliet, and it kind of sets the stage for why there's this such a terrible grudge between the Capulets and the Montagues. And I don't want to spill the beans as to exactly what the details are, but there's a lot of intrigue and a lot of scandalous relationships between Lady Capulet and another member of one of the households that leads to some interesting things in regards to some of the other characters that appear. So I don't know how much more than that I should or shouldn't be saying, not more than that. Okay, so there's scandal, there's debauchery, there's all kind of things going on, and you can check that out. So how can people find out about Lady Capulet, Emily?
Sure. So if they want to join us for the Norwalk Public Library version, they can go onto Facebook and either go to Norwalk Public Library, or they can come to Barefoot Shakes. We're on Instagram and Facebook as Barefoot Shakes. So if you find us, Barefoot Shakespeare Company, we also have a link to sign up to join us that day. We're also going to have another performance of Lady Capulet during Goddard Riverside's Women's History Arts Month, which is March. So during their WHAM Festival, I believe we're going to start on March 25th, and we'll have a few nights in a row for Lady Capulet. So two different ways you can catch us in the next couple of months. And hopefully everybody's going to get to find out what caused the feud.
And so that's Lady Capulet. Tell us for a few minutes while we still have time. We're running over our hour length. I think Instagram is being kind, letting us run a little bit over. It's a supersized episode. It's the beginning of the new year. We're fortunate to have you. Tell us about Barefoot Shakespeare Company. How long have you guys been operational?
Great. So Barefoot Shakespeare Company has been, this is our 9th season here in New York City. We usually perform outdoors in Central Park. Usually at Summit Rock on the Upper West Side. That's our home. Last year, obviously, things changed and we went virtual. And so we took some productions we had done outdoors and did them virtually to see how we could do that. Lady Capulet was one of those that we had performed in the park, and we're excited to bring virtual. But yeah, we've been doing Shakespeare outdoors, grounded, we believe, kind of what Harry was just saying about being true to who you are and bringing that to the character and making that work. We believe that Shakespeare's words speak for themselves, and if the actor knows what they're saying and truly believes it for themselves, the audience will get it too. So we usually, when we're lucky, get to run and play outside in Central Park all summer, which is really just the most fun.
I've seen you guys. You've been around for, as you say, 8-9 years, and you do a lot of fun stuff. I think last year you were intending to do. Was it last year or the year before? I think last year you guys did a Midsummer Night's Dream, and was that the first one that you did as a virtual production?
So we had done that live in 2017, and we took it to do it virtually. About half of our original cast joined us, which was super fun, but then we got to invite all new people for the other half, more recent alumni who have joined us since 2017. So kind of fun to split that up. But obviously going from live in person to virtual, you change things and you need rehearsals and you need to get used to this new technology we're using, and then also switching up the cast like that. We had to bring that virtual as well. But the first virtual show Barefoot Shakespeare did was Troilus and Cressida. And that
Okay.
was going to be our first show in the park last year, our June 2020 show. And we
Mm-hmm.
were already in preparation for it when the pandemic happened and we had to shut down. So we had already done a decent amount of work on it, and we decided, well, let's present it virtually. Now, our hope is to eventually present it live at Summit Rock as originally planned, but that was the first one we really were like, okay, let's figure this out. How can we do this? So
Some of the other people that we've had on in the past few months have braved the outdoors, and they've done the socially distanced productions with the masks. Right now, of course, it's the winter; it's not really conducive to doing anything outdoors. But in the spring or in the summer, are you planning to get out there again, or are you going to hang on to the virtual format for the time being until things ease up a little bit?
So we usually, our park permits are June and August. They're the same every year. They're the first
Hmm.
weekend of June and the last weekend of August. So I'm fingers crossed, hopeful this year that we'll be able to perform that last couple weekends of August. I'm hopeful. We'll see. I'm going to go with what the Parks Department tells us. Last year they pulled our park
Right.
permits, so we really didn't have a choice. This year we'll
Hmm.
see what happens. It sounds like outdoor performances are going to start happening on a professional scale across the city as well. Starting in
Hmm.
March is what I've been reading. So we're very, very hopeful to get back outdoors. But we're also really excited to have this new virtual platform to test things out and do things differently, because it means we could do programming year round, which has not ever been something Barefoot's done because we're an outdoor company. But
Right.
now we can, which is exciting.
Well, that's kind of what something that I found in the process of compiling that the list of the awards that I was going through at the top of the program is that within the limitations and the confines and the boundaries of the current reality of doing virtual everything, there's a lot of room for growth and creativity and really fun performances and different kinds of Shakespeare presentations. I mean, just even the people that we spoke to tonight, there's so much going on, and in a way, some of the difficulties, as you say, you were a summer company, you were doing things in June and August, and now you have the option to do it all year round. So
Absolutely.
some of those limitations are removed, and it's a little bit in a way it's liberating in a sense that there's so much possibility that is presented to us.
Absolutely. And with Lady Capulet as well, one of our actors is in California and has been since we performed, and they can be a part of it now that we're doing it virtually right now. So just really exciting.
So in watching the recording of the performance, I saw it was a really interesting show. The dialogue it's very it's both contemporary and it sounds kind of like some segments of it could be ripped from Shakespeare. So it's a really nice balance of the one and the other. Melissa, I throw my applause out to you. Very nicely done.
Absolutely.
What's been the process like of taking the previous performances and going forward? Is it that you and Melissa have some kind of new work that you're adding to the show? Is it that you're just taking it and finding a new audience and presenting the show once again? What's the process like?
A little bit of both. We definitely keep honing in on the language, and one of the things that I know Melissa and I both agree on is, especially because this particular group of actors have now been working on this piece since we performed it live in Central Park in 2019, they understand these characters really, really well. And so if something comes out of their mouth that's slightly different on the page, for example, Melissa and I spent a significant time working through this text, looking at using you or your versus thee or thou, and
Mm-hmm.
how that changes the way this piece sounds or these characters are talking to each other. But
Mm-hmm.
if one of the actors uses uses the other word instead, we take the step back and go, okay, well, what are they feeling in that moment that we didn't consider? So having these actors who have worked on this piece for such a long time now has helped us hear what the right moves forward are.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, I think part of it was Melissa getting very brave and writing some verse, which had not been in the piece yet, but which we kind of discussed being an exciting step forward.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a little bit of verse in there now, and there's but for the most part, it's really just plain English with like tises and these and thous in it for the most part. But very cleverly done.
It's in a way it kind of echoes our first discussion of the evening with Erica Cantley and her book, where it's the process for her it was a 5-year process to kind of take that book and rein it in and not just rein it in, but refine it and keep on having it evolve into what it ultimately ended up being. So I think that that's the process that you and Melissa are going through right now with Lady Capulet, where it started out as what it was, but with each successive performance, something gets added to it, and you find a new wrinkle that you can add, and so much more.
Absolutely, absolutely. And as you mentioned, it's also to be bringing it to new audiences.
Mm-hmm.
We'd love to see this piece go further and see what legs it could have. So the more people who get their eyes on it and get to hear it and get to experience the joy and fun and intrigue and scandal that is this play,
Mm-hmm.
we hope the more popularity it'll gain, and we can maybe make some big moves with it.
Absolutely. Well, I thought it was a really wonderful show, and definitely something that people should check out, and an important contribution to the Shakespeare scene in New York here. So, my applause to you and to Melissa for all your efforts with that, and I hope the audience comes out in droves to catch the performance next week on the 28th at the Norwalk Public Library, and thereafter at the other venues that you have lined up after that. So, where can they connect with you once again, Emily?
Sure. So we're on Facebook as Barefoot Shakespeare Company. We're on Instagram and Twitter as Barefoot Shakes, and barefootshakespeare.org is our website. So really simple to find us. And thank you
Okay.
again so much, Rodney. This has been wonderful. And thanks for all you do for the Shakespeare scene. You have your finger on the pulse, and it's really wonderful. So thanks.
Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. All right. Well, Emily, I'm glad we were able to connect. And again, good luck to you and Melissa. Thanks for all the efforts you put forward. And I'll try to catch that performance as well.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Take care. All right. So that was Emily Gallagher of the Barefoot Shakespeare Company. And they have their version of Lady Capulet, the latest edition of it, coming up Thursday, January 28th at the Norwalk Public Library, and that is going to be done via Zoom. So once again, I